So God says to men, he says, I will bless you. Check this out, brothers. This is big. This is big.
She was standing outside a courthouse in broad daylight when her estranged husband pulled up beside her car and fired multiple shots through the window. This wasn't some dark alley. This wasn't the middle of the night. This was a place where people are supposed to be safe. A courthouse in Griffin, Georgia, on September 13th, 2024. Her name was Crystal Evans. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why her last post on Facebook before she died was a desperate plea for help that nobody answered. Let me tell you about Crystal. She was 44 years old, a real estate professional, a mother to 2 daughters, Precious and Talon. She was the kind of woman who was always busy, always looking out for others. Friends remember her as positive, hardworking, the type of person who showed up for people. She grew up in Griffin, built her life there, was active in her church. To anyone on the outside, Crystal had it together. But what nobody saw coming was what Crystal couldn't escape no matter how hard she tried, was the man she married. In November 2010, Crystal married Tom Mallory. He was a contractor. By all accounts, the first few years seemed normal enough. They even ran a family construction business together. They had a home in the Griffin area. To the neighbors, to people passing by, they looked like just another couple trying to make it work. Except Tom Mallory was hiding something, and it started to poison everything. Before we get too deep, welcome to Homicide Case Files. Hit subscribe if you find meanings in this discussions. Over time, Crystal realized Tom was living what she called a secret, down-low lifestyle. He was unfaithful. There were undisclosed relationships, betrayals she couldn't quite prove, but knew were happening. More than that, Tom started to become controlling, threatening, unstable in ways that terrified her. By 2018, Crystal had had enough of the silence. She started telling people. She started documenting things. She filed court papers saying Tom had threatened to kill her. Not once. Repeatedly. She said he'd crawled under her house to spy on her conversations. He'd cut off utilities to scare her. He even stole her pet cat just to mess with her head. And then in 2019, something happened that showed Crystal exactly how dangerous Tom really was. He fired a gun outside her home. Multiple shots. Then he called 911 and claimed there was an active shooter on the property. Can you imagine? The man who fired those shots was the one reporting the threat. It was a twisted mind game designed to make her look crazy, to make her doubt herself, to make anyone who listened think maybe she was the problem. The cops showed up. They didn't find much. No clear evidence. It came down to her word against his. And in cases like that, nothing happens. Tom Mallory was charged with falsely reporting a crime. He pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor in 2021. Got fined. Got probation. Went back home like nothing happened. Crystal, though, she couldn't unsee what she'd seen. She couldn't unknow what she knew about him. So she started leaving a paper trail. On Facebook, she posted warnings. Real warnings, not vague complaints, direct messages to people she trusted. In August 2023, just over a year before she died, she wrote something that should have changed everything. She said, I know if something happens to me, please know who did it. This man has said numerous times that he's going to kill me. I am posting and trying to leave a paper trail. This man is extremely dangerous. Think about that for a moment. She was literally writing her own case file because she didn't trust the system to protect her. Crystal filed for protective orders. The courts granted them. Twice. They said Tom couldn't come within 500 yards of her. He couldn't contact her. It was supposed to be final. Supposed to mean something. But protective orders are just pieces of paper if nobody enforces them. And nobody was enforcing them. Crystal called the sheriff's office the day before she died. She reported that Tom was violating the protective order. The sheriff's office did nothing. Her daughter, Precious, later said her mother was terrified, but felt like the system had abandoned her.
My mom literally called the sheriff department the day before because he was stalking her. She even showed them that the PTO that she was granted for life.
Despite all of this, Crystal kept fighting. She initiated divorce proceedings in late 2022. The process dragged on for months and months. She lost her attorney at one point, which stalled everything even further. But she kept pushing because she knew staying married to Tom meant staying in danger. Finally, on September 11th, 2024, a judge signed the divorce decree. Crystal got the house. She got the business assets. She got her freedom back. And that day, she posted on Facebook that she got blessed today. Her daughter Precious said her mom was so happy after that divorce. She felt free. She felt like she could breathe again. 3 days later, she was dead. On Friday, September 13th, Crystal had to return to the Spalding County Courthouse in downtown Griffin. There was a hearing in an eviction case. Tom Mallory was there too that day, facing his own hearing on separate charges involving forged documents. They didn't interact. Crystal finished her hearing and walked out to her car. Deputies were nearby. They saw her walking through the lobby. Nobody offered to walk her out. Nobody recognized the danger that was about to unfold. Tom Mallory followed her. He pulled up beside her vehicle on 6th Street, right outside the courthouse, in broad daylight, with people around. He rolled down his window and fired multiple shots through her car window. Crystal was hit several times. She died right there in her car. She died instantly.
Morning calls for justice after a woman was shot and killed outside the Spalding County Courthouse. Crystal Evans and her ex-husband Tom Mallory were at the courthouse Friday afternoon for a hearing when Mallory allegedly shot Evans multiple times, killing her. He ran from police and eventually shot himself. Now we are learning more from Crystal's daughter, who says she had a restraining order against her father. Griffin police confirms the couple had a history of domestic violence.
My mom literally called the sheriff department the day before because he was stalking her. She even showed them that the PTO that she was granted for life Wednesday from the divorce, and they did nothing. Had they had someone walked out with her, like, her friend asked, she would still be here.
Griffin police deny Evans asked for an escort. Precious says she will hold a rally for justice Wednesday and a vigil for her mother Thursday.
When deputies caught up to Tom, when they finally stopped him a short distance away, he turned the gun on himself, pulled the trigger, shot himself in the head. Tom Mallory was rushed to Grady Memorial Hospital in Atlanta. He lingered there for 2 weeks, unconscious, while the weight of what he'd done sat with his broken body. On September 28th, 2024, he died from those self-inflicted wounds. Crystal was gone, and the man who killed her? Gone as well, but the questions? Those didn't go away. Crystal's daughter, Precious, became vocal. She spoke to news outlets. She said her mom had warned law enforcement. She'd begged for help. She'd documented everything, and still, when it mattered most, nobody was there to protect her. Precious organized a vigil outside that courthouse. She held signs that said, "Justice for Crystal." She asked a question that echoes in every case like this.
New tonight at 11, we're hearing from the family of a woman shot and killed outside of the Spalding County Courthouse. And tonight, the daughter of Crystal Evans says her mother did not have to die because she believes law enforcement actually dropped the ball because of a history of domestic violence between her mother and the suspect. 11 Alive, Teresa Bowles, live tonight in the newsroom with what we know tonight. Teresa?
Well, Ron, tonight authorities have identified the suspect as Mr. Tom Mallory. Adding to her pain, Precious Evans tells me Mallory is her biological father.
I feel like I don't have nobody.
Precious Evans says she lost both of her parents at the same time.
I don't have nobody to lean on.
She says she watched her comforter, her mother, Crystal Evans, go through an ugly divorce with her father for a year.
She was so happy after her divorce. She felt free. We were even talking about doing a party.
However, throughout that year, she also says she witnessed disturbing behavior. Crystal posts a cry for help on Facebook last year saying, "Please know if something happens to me, Tom Mallory did it."
Even after the divorce, this man literally texted her, "Not happening."
Precious says her mother was at the Spalding County Courthouse for a hearing connected to their separation Friday afternoon.
The judge did issue a warrant. Instead of the judge taking him in right then and there, the judge said that he could turn himself in Monday night.
In a lengthy Facebook post, Sheriff Daryl Dix says Crystal walked out of the courthouse to her car where Mallory met her, shooting her multiple times from the window. Mallory did not stop for police and eventually shot himself. He's alive, but Evans is not, which Precious believes could have been prevented.
My mom literally called the sheriff the sheriff department the day before because he was stalking her, and they did nothing. Had they had someone walked out with her, like, you know, her friend asked, she would still be here.
Dix denies this. He says surveillance video shows Crystal never asked for an escort. His office also confirms there have been several domestic violence calls to the Mallory household. Dix says sometimes the violence was mutual and there were no witnesses to identify the aggressor. Dix says, quote, "Do improvements need to be made to the law? Yes, they do. Maybe it wasn't a deputy or my agency that failed. Maybe it was the law itself. And since she can't get her mom back, Precious will honor her life by fighting for justice with no sympathy for her father."
Not once did you offer your condolences, sympathy, or anything for my mom. That post was to clean his face, to clear his name.
How much must a person suffer before we actually help? Sheriff Daryl Dix later acknowledged that deputies had responded to domestic incidents between Crystal and Tom, but they would blame each other, and there was no clear evidence either way. He said the system needed to change. He said maybe protective orders should come with mandatory firearm surrender. Maybe there should be faster enforcement. Maybe there should be escorts from courthouses for people in danger. Maybe. But Crystal Evans couldn't wait for maybes. Her story has since been featured in news reports and true crime programs because it's a story that needed to be told. Or it's a story about a woman who saw the danger coming and tried every legal avenue available to her. Court orders, protective orders, Facebook warnings, therapy, separation, divorce. She did everything right, and it didn't matter. What matters now is that Crystal is remembered not as a victim who gave up, but as a woman who fought until the very end. A mother who loved her daughters fiercely. A woman who trusted that if she left enough of a paper trail, someone would care enough to act on it. Crystal Evans deserved better. Her family deserves justice. Her memory deserves more than just another true crime story. Subscribe so you never miss the stories that matter. Stories like Crystal's that remind us why we have to do better. Thanks for watching until the end of this episode. I will see you in our next one.